You ready? Call the meeting to order.
Okay, good evening. Welcome to the Queen Anne's County Commissioners meeting. This is a public meeting that is being aired live on our local cable television station, QACTV 7. These media broadcasts provide county citizens an opportunity to watch and review our scheduled public meetings. In addition to our live audience this evening, we are providing remote options for citizens to watch and participate in county commissioner meetings. Citizens may watch our meeting live on our Queen Anne's County website at www.qac.org/live or on QAC TV's television channel, Atlantic Broadband Channel 7 and High Definition Channel 507. Citizens may also participate by joining the live Zoom meeting by going to www.qac.org/public comment. Citizens may email comments to publiccomment@qac.org as well. Comments received will be read during the press and public comment period on this evening's agenda. We acknowledge your participation, and by attending, you acknowledge that this session is both recorded and aired. Press and public comment will be taken and is limited to 3 minutes per person. If you care to speak, please sign the sheet on the information table in the lobby. Comments longer than 3 minutes can be submitted in writing for the Commissioner's review. We will now stand and be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Commission President Chris Corcorino.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please have a moment of silence for the victims of the condominium collapse in Florida. Thank you.
Okay, we just had a closed session under Section 3-305B1 of the General Provisions Article for personnel, boards and commissions, and under Section 3-3057B to consult with counsel. I do believe we made some conclusions on some appointments to boards and commissions. We have appointments to the Community Partnership for Children and Families, some recommendations from our local management board. So can I get a motion to make those appointments?
I move to appoint Justin Hoyt, Cameron Ronay, pronounce that for me, my boy.
Rayani?
Royani, Sarah Shelley, and Carla Tryon to the board of the Queen Anne County Community Partnership for Children and Families to serve a 3-year term ending on June 30th, 2024.
Second.
All right, motion is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 5-0, motion carries.
You want me to make the motion for the comprehensive study?
Yeah.
Sure.
So I want to move that the County Administrator and Director of Human Resources develop a salary study focused on critical workforce needs to provide a recommended plan to keep pace with some of the local and regional salary and wage markets.
Second.
Got a motion is second. Any discussion on that?
I guess we've come to the conclusion that right now it's very hard to recruit people, and retain not so much, but recruit right now is very hard, and it starts to affect a lot of county services. So looking at the future, fellow Commissioner Wilson brings a good point that it's not going to get any better anytime soon. So I think it's best that we get out in front of it and see what we can do to try to solve some of our issues on that end.
Yeah, and this is for some of the more critical areas of our workforce where we have to get the talent in there, get them trained so that, you know, the continuity of the operations of the county government is really, really important.
Absolutely.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
We did.
All right. That's
5-0 passes.
All right. Thank you very much, Commissioners. Appreciate that. All right, that brings us to the approval of today's agenda for our meeting on July 13th. That agenda has, and the regular and closed session minutes from your June 22nd meeting, along with the Sanitary Commission minutes from the June 8th and the June 22nd meetings have been circulated for review. Do we have any additions or corrections?
I'd like to make a motion to add actions item 6 to tonight's agenda.
Second. Get a motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes and the agenda as amended.
Second.
Okay, motion second, all in favor? Aye. Both pass 5-0.
All right, thank you, Commissioners. That brings us to our first press and public comment period this evening. So thank you for taking the time to express your views to the County Commissioners during this public comment period. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person. Comments longer than 3 minutes can be submitted in writing. When you come forward, please speak clearly at the standing microphone, state your name, address, topic of interest. Keeping with the dignity of our office, we ask that all views be expressed in a respectful and civil manner, and the Commission respects your desire and right to convey your message freely. We ask as a courtesy to the board and our citizens that you respect the Commissioner's request and refrain from naming citizens and name-calling when offering any critique.
All right, we got Sharon Newsback. Ms. Newsback, right there, the microphone, please. Sure.
Okay, I'm from Stevensville, Maryland, and I'm here to ask commissioners to please vote no for more construction on Ken Island, Route 8, and the 10-foot variance. The entrance of the eastern shore should remain with trees, not tall buildings. And I live down Route 8, so Route 8 is one way in and one way out. So if you're lucky enough to get through the Bay Bridge traffic, especially in the summertime, and get to Route 8, usually if there is an accident, it's right there on the Pier 1 and Route 8 intersection. So why would you want to add more traffic to that area? We also have a Target, Ellendale, all the construction there, Bay Cove, Four Seasons, plus all the new homes that are being built where I live on Ken Island Estates. It's just too much, and we are just trying to get home. And it's very sad to watch all the trees being cut down, like I said, and all the wildlife not having anywhere to go. And I'm not a big conservationist or anything. I noticed it. So it's very sad to watch that. Ken Island has a small town feel, and I feel like we are losing that, and I hope we can preserve it. I moved here 15 years ago from Laurel, Maryland, and I bought an old home over here, fixed it up some. And I really love it here, but it's getting way too much everything on top of it. It's too much. So, like I said, we just want to be able to get down Route 8 and get home. So I hope you vote no for that. And thank you, commissioners, for letting me speak. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm nervous.
You did fine. You did good. You did good. Thank you. That's all we have. Anybody else?
No virtual.
No virtual. Okay, then we'll close person public comment.
All right, thank you, Commissioners. We can move into new business this evening. We have the Department of Public Works. I think Chief Roads Engineer Shane Moore is here. So if you want to turn to tab number 3, and the first item is actually, tab number 2 is Public Works, Tab 2, the first item is actually from Chief Engineer Lee Edgar, and he asked that we pull that item because there was a correction that needs to be made in that particular instrument, so we will revisit that at a future meeting. So item number 2 is from Shane Moore. This is a Worcester Road information meeting request, and before we go into this, we need to convene as the Roads Board, please. Okay, thank you. And I'll let Shane take it away. This is an information meeting request for a road improvement project in Ken Island Estates. So,
Yes. This is the first of what we hope are many roads in Ken Island Estates that are currently private that we can work to upgrade to public roads. We currently have 7 petitions in, and we will be bringing those forth as time allows. The first here is Worcester Road. We have a petition in support of the Ken Island Estates Roads Association. We have 52% of residents in favor of having this information meeting. That is the first step in the process of taking the road over and upgrading it to public road standards. So we have tentatively scheduled a meeting July 28th at 7 p.m. at the Ken Island Estates Community Hall, and that's tentative upon your approval. At that meeting, included in the packet is what I'll be presenting at the meeting, which is a letter addressed to all the residents, as well as the information packet with the estimated cost, the timeline, and the payback process for such a project. Does anyone have any questions?
Can you explain for the people who are watching what this process is? Who pays for the roads to be brought up to county standards, and what does that mean for those who live there?
Sure. The process, this process is the special tax assessment process. So we will have a public information meeting first, based on a vote at the end of that meeting. If there's a majority in favor that live on the road that want to move forward with a public hearing, we will come back to the commissioners and request that public hearing. At that public hearing, we will present pretty much the same information, and the residents of the road will be allowed to testify, and we will take an inventory of yes and no. We'll also leave the record open for a period of 2 weeks. Once we have all that data, we will come back to the commissioners and present that. We will count up the number of yeses and the number of nos. If the commissioners feel at that time to move forward with the project, they will vote, and at that point, the road will become a county road, and we will work to finish the design and the construction of the roadway. Once the road is completed, 100% completed, accepted by us, we will then levy the assessment, and the residents of the roadway will pay the entirety of the cost to construct that roadway. So the county is not out any money, it is the residents that do pay for it.
So how many, Shane, just to kind of put in perspective, how many have we done this with? This isn't the first one. We've done, how many roads down there so far?
In Canal on the States, we've done four in my time with the county, starting in 2002.
Okay.
We did from 2002 to 2006, and then when the economy got shaky with the recession, they pretty much ceased. We did continue them in other parts of the county. I've done a total of 8, like doing it this way, all with great success.
And these are typically roads that were prior to this were taken care of or supposed to be taken care of by the HOAs and things like that, and they've kind of
Yes, by the HOA or by the residents on the roadway. In Canal on the States, it's the Roads Association. They have their own Roads Association for the community. And I believe they collect $10 a year per lot, which is not nearly enough to keep up with the roadways.
Obviously. And some of those roads just,
Are bad.
they get really, really bad. So, tell me if I know this correct. So if there's a blue street sign, it's a county road there. If it's green, it's the private road?
Green is county,
Green is
blue
county, blue is, so
private.
people who drive down, you'll be able to tell which roads have already been converted over to the county, which ones haven't. And you can see a significant difference in the condition of those roads.
That assessment that you mentioned, is that assessment over a period of time? How's that going to work?
It's a 10-year period at a 5% interest rate.
Okay.
And it can be broken down into various assessment methods, but typically everyone goes for the per owner assessment. That's how historically that we've done them.
Okay.
And so historically, the way this works is that the commissioners, we could vote even if the people who live on, the residents didn't want it, but historically, the way it's done is we get a majority of the residents on that road in favor of it.
Yes.
Before we would do that. So this is, people, if everybody on the road doesn't want it, it's not going to happen. So talk to your neighbors if you think it should be done.
The 4 we have completed where the public hearing and the testimony was in favor of the project. We did have 2 roads in Canal Estates, and now we're bringing one of those back in soon. Actually came, and there was 2 hearings for those roads, but both of them at the hearing, the residents that showed up were not in favor of it. And the more vocal people, there were more no's than yeses.
Vocal minority?
Yes.
Imagine
well,
that.
The people that spoke up at the hearing and provided testimony, there was more no's than yes, and the commissioners decided to table those until such time that the residents did want to do it. So, yes, if the more no's are there, they don't, typically the commissioners don't vote for it, but they could, and they've always gone with the most yeses, so.
All right.
All right.
I move to schedule the proposed Worcester Road Improvement Project informational meeting on July 28, 2021 at 7 p.m. at the Kent Island Estates Community Hall.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. We've already had discussion. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? 5-0, motion carries.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, commissioners. Okay, that's all we had for Public Works. Unless you have any other questions for Shane while he's here? All right. Thank you, Shane.
Thank you.
Okay, we can go into our new business. We have 6 action items this evening. If you want to turn to tab number 3. Tab 3, item 1, page 1 is this is a state contract procurement for a new transportation vehicle for the Animal Services Division. Can I get a motion on that, please?
I move to purchase one 2021 Ford Transit Connect cargo van for animal services transportation operations from Apple Ford via the state of Maryland's blanket purchase order in the amount of $22,335.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. 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 Any opposed? 5-0, motion carries.
Okay, thank you, Commissioners. Item number 2 on page 5 is a CDBG COVID Round 1 Grant Agreement Amendment from Mike Clark, Chief of Housing and Family Services, and this is to reallocate some existing grant money from the Emergency Rental Assistance Program over to the Home Delivered Meals Program. And the reason we're doing that is because there's another pot of money for emergency rental assistance that will cover those needs. So this is a kind of a win-win for us. So could I get a motion on that, please?
I move to sign and initial the amendment to Maryland Community Development Block Grant Program COVID Round 1 Grant Agreement for grant number CV1-8.
Second.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? 5-0, passes.
Okay, thank you, Commissioners. Item number 3 on page 16 is a property lien for a nuisance violation for high vegetation over 12 inches.
I move to approve Resolution 2108 to place a lien on the property listed in the County Zoning Administrator's Memorandum dated July 13th, 2021 for nuisance violations.
Second.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And I have to actually recuse myself from that one, so.
You live there?
No,
Oh.
I've been meaning to cut the grass.
All right, thank you, Commissioners. Moving on, item number 4 on page 23 is a support letter to Secretary Rona Kramer of the Maryland Department of Aging in support of our application to this for the a grant for the YMCA component, Senior Center YMCA component here in the Queen Anne's County YMCA project.
I move to sign a letter to Secretary Rona Kramer of the Maryland Department of Aging in support of the application for the Senior Citizens Activity Center's Capital Improvement Grants Program.
Second.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
So is this in addition to, because they got a grant last year, correct? Or is this the first one?
This is the first one,
This
yes.
is the first one?
Yeah.
Okay. And then will they be eligible for an additional one next year? Because I got the impression when we were doing the
I think so, yeah.
groundbreaking that there was going to be an opportunity to get some more, so, okay. Great.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? 5-0.
All right, thank you, Commissioners. Item number 5 is an amended revised fiscal 22 budget for Chesapeake College. They received an increase in state funding of about $900,000, and they want to make some budget adjustments primarily for salaries, and they've also requested that we approve their request to use fund balance on 5 specific projects which are included in their package. I do know that Caroline County has approved this already. Kent County doesn't seem, I think they're going to vote on this on the 20th, and so they didn't see any problem with approving this either. So Dr. Coppersmith said he'd be happy to come in and present anything to the commissioners at a future meeting if you need more information, but and we reviewed it with our finance office, and we don't see any issues with approving this budget amendment for the college.
So I guess the only question I got, Todd, so they got more out of the CADE formula, right? The 800 and some thousand. Did they just supplant the money that was coming from the counties and put it into fund balance, and then from there, they're moving it over to do these projects? Is that?
No, they're going to use the additional state funding for salary increases for the.
I saw that for the 5%,
Yeah.
but that's
And then the fund,
all of it.
yes, and then the fund balance request is for the projects.
Projects.
Yes.
Okay.
Any other discussion?
I move to approve the Chesapeake College fund balance request and revised FY22 budget request. I know you were nodding at me to make the motion, but you?
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 5-0, motion carries.
All right. Thank you, Commissioners. Item number 6 is our desk item. This is from Director Steve Chanley of Parks and Recreation. This is for a White Marsh Park lighting project, and Steve is here this evening. We received an additional POS grant of $1 million that must be used this year, This is kind of a payback grant from the local parks and playground infrastructure fund that distributed $85 million statewide. Our cut was $1 million, and we would like to, are suggesting, recommending that we install lights at White Marsh Park using that $1 million. Plus, we need another $284,148 from fund balance to complete that. So if you have any
I
questions.
move to authorize the Department of Parks to enter a contract with Musco Lighting to install new athletic field lights at White Marsh Park in the amount of $1,284,148, utilizing the Keystone Purchase Network Agreement funding to come from the POS grant funds and county fund balance.
Second. Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Wait, I had a
You got a question?
real quick
That's
on
too
that
fast
one,
for you?
yeah. Is Musco same people that are doing Love Point? Okay. Thank you.
I'm still in aye.
You didn't swing your opinion on that one?
No, they haven't.
All right, all those in favor?
Thank you for being here to say
Any
yes.
opposed? Okay, 5-0.
I'm like 6 ayes there. 9-0. Aye.
Wait a minute, it's Musco? Oh, wait a minute, I'm taking my vote back.
Yeah, same company that's doing the old Love Point.
Yep.
All right, so commissioners, we're a little ahead of schedule. I'm not sure if Character Counts is here just yet, but I would like to call your attention to two things in the information section of the book under tab 4. Item number 8 on page 24, and I think you've received notice of this. The town of Sudlersville was awarded $513,000 in a USDA grant for completing their wastewater plant construction up there, and I just wanted to thank publicly Director of Public Works Alan Quimby for his work with the town, and we've assumed maintenance responsibilities up there now as well. So, but he was instrumental in working with the town leadership up there and USDA to secure this grant funding, and it's very, very,
It's a big deal for them.
very well received and needed for that
Kudos all around
project.
on the job they're doing up there.
Yeah, yeah.
Really well done.
Saving the town money on the operational side, and they're getting compliments from their citizens about the good taste of the water, so,
Wow.
yes, a lot of pats on the back, because that was a real mess up there, and now it seems to be, the ship is somewhat righted.
We're on the road to recovery.
Exactly.
Yes, and the other item is item number 9. It's an information package from the Clean Chesapeake Coalition from a meeting that we attended on May the 26th. Commissioner Moran and I were there, along with other members of the coalition. So there are some things there that you might want to take a look at. So going forward, we can make some recommendations on how we can use some of those funds that we're going to be getting from Exelon for fixing the problems we have with Chesapeake Bay and the dam issues we've had there. So I don't know that we need to make any decisions on. Jim, I don't know if you wanted to make any comments about that this evening, but that was
Maybe at roundtable?
Well, just while we're on the subject, what are they suggesting? Did they have any, suggestions for usage? I mean, our farmers do a lot with the BMPs and all that. I mean,
they'll never see a dollar.
really?
Yeah, no. It's not, the total is 50 million?
50 million.
50 million over 20 years. So, and then our share,
Minimal.
they want to save the mussels first. Oh, yeah. So I think that we looked at it and we were maybe lucky to get a couple $100,000 for Queen Anne's County, maybe a little bit more, and use that for oyster
restoration and
Yeah,
stuff.
oyster restoration, CVAC, so, but we're still waiting to see how this all pans out. So, see.
Oyster restoration. So is that restricted acreage bottom that they can?
No, this is just to buy spat,
Okay.
every year for them to.
Okay.
Well,
See.
there was some discussions amongst the watermen though about that, and I think that is something we should look at, is where we get
Where
the
it's gonna
common
go.
leases for the
I
watermen.
mean, just think about it. They're giving the money to Queen Anne's County,
Yeah.
right?
We hope.
Okay, but I'm just saying, whatever amount is allocated to us, is it our decision as to how that money's used? Okay.
Yeah. There was also a presentation about potentially dredging behind the dam and pumping that over to Aberdeen Proving Ground, so that's kind of in the early stages. I think that's got some merit as well,
Yeah,
but
but haven't they been talking about that for years, though?
they have
They
been.
did the core samples, they're trying to find out what's in it.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? If it's
Before they
toxic,
start
yeah,
dumping it
yeah.
somewhere.
Because they can sell it. If it's purely sand, most silt is really sand.
It's
And
probably
if they can-
nitrogen laden, isn't it? I
Yeah,
would think,
they-
runoff.
Right,
Saying it is Pennsylvania.
yeah. All Pennsylvania's dirt, but it's worth money, you know what I mean? So, you know, they said it was a, oh God, I forgot the dollar amounts. I mean, $100 million?
It was like $100 million. I
To
think.
dredge out behind there?
Oh, yeah, and that's just to get it down to an acceptable level. And once you start dredging, you'll never stop. So as you're dredging to get ahead of the curve,
Just like the sand at the beach.
it keeps, that's
Comes in
right.
behind.
So it's something that would never stop. And that's why they're trying to, you know, the research that they're doing is once they get that dredging and they get it down to a science, then they can start selling the sand, selling the dirt, whatever's coming out of there. They
help
can move that.
offset the costs.
Exactly. And that's where.
Yeah, and it
we'll
will probably
see.
go on for.
But you
decades,
need
correct?
Exelon's permission to dredge, because they own the pond. So they have to agree to whatever you're gonna do, they have to agree, which is interesting, so. They have to agree for us to remove the dirt, and if they don't agree, then the dirt just comes over the dam and down the bay.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
go figure.
So that'll be a continuing story on that, so
Yes.
if you get a chance, take a look at that, and we will move on. Okay, presentations?
Yes, sir. We're waiting for Lance, and then, I guess I can try to get Dwayne to come up for the presentation. of the
Legit.
check. So I'm not sure if they've gotten.
Okay. Yeah, we're a little ahead of schedule, so
Take 5?
Just take
take a
five.
recess?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, take 5. With our presentations this evening, we have Kelly Huber, Character Counts Specialist, and our own State's Attorney, Mr. Lance Richardson. And Kelly, I'll let you introduce your other guest here, so
All
please
right.
proceed. Yeah.
I will get to Lance. But good evening, and thank you for having us here tonight. I brought some special friends, my Character Counts friends that we haven't been able to bring for the last year. So we have Wayne Humphreys and Susan Coppage, two of the Character Counts Advisory Council members. And we have Mike Clark, who is another longtime Character Counts coach and an advisory member as well. And we have a special guest sitting back there as well. Just a short update on Character Counts. We had a great year last year, despite the craziness of the pandemic. Thank you guys for all your support throughout the whole thing. We were still here, you were still presenting the proclamation, so that was exciting. And thank you to, I will do it again, Queen Anne's County TV, Bruce, Chris, and everyone else for our wonderful partnership and the awesome Super Show episodes that allowed us to do wonderful things, during the pandemic. So you can still check out those videos on their YouTube channel or our website. It's exciting that things have finally started to open up. We're getting out there, we're recruiting, we're gearing up for the next year. We've been out, the three of us went and met with Dr. Patricia Salins, our new Queen Anne's County Superintendent. Very excited that students, teachers, and our coaches are going to be returning to school this year. So hopefully, we'll cross our fingers, but hopefully back to a normal year. We are looking for coaches. Who knows what last year did to us. We did have coaches, but we're still looking for additional coaches. I've gone out to some of these pop-up things since it's just starting to open up. I've been out to the Food Truck Tuesday. I've been out to the Everything Market. We're signed up for the fair. So trying to get out there and definitely looking for coaches. So anyone listening, any of you guys that want to be coaches, definitely reach out to me. You can send me an email, khuber@qac.org, or you can even go to www.peopleofcharacter.org or .org, sorry. Also, just one last thing, the Shore Update just put out their best of for the Golden Anchor Awards. So everyone, go ahead and get on there, vote for the best here in the community. And don't forget Character Counts, because you can vote for us as a community, a favorite organization that makes our community a better place. We've won for the last couple of years, and it'd be great to do it again, because I think it's a great initiative. So with that being said, Wayne, Susan, would you guys like to?
I just wanted to take a minute and thank everyone here for what you do in support of Character Counts. It's hard to believe we're about 21, 22 years now at this, where the community said this is what they wanted to do, and they've supported this, and we're so grateful for all the people that come out to do the coaching, all the people that are on our advisory committee, the Queen Anne's County TV that's always been so very helpful. It's a wonderful place to be in Queen Anne's County. I think when you look across the nation and you see the kind of leadership we have here and throughout the community, our state's attorney and our sheriff, and it's just it's very gratifying to just know that everyone here is a part of this and participates in its success. And Kelly, we're so proud of you and all the work you do.
Thank you.
It just wouldn't be the same without your enthusiasm. It's just, when I get near her, it's just like our first year all over again, because she's just so excited about it. It's just wonderful. So
right.
Thank you, and thanks to the community and everyone.
All right, well, thank you. And one last special guest that I'd like to invite up here, another Character Counts friend, a role model, a longtime Character Counts coach for 10, 12, 15 years?
You lose track.
When you're having fun, right?
Lance is always a Character Counts supporter. I can always turn to him and he'll be there for me. He's a star of the Super Shows. I don't know how many times he was one of the super actors in it. He's someone special and very kind of a one-of-a-kind type of guy. So with that being said, he wrote our proclamation for this month. You have anything to share?
Do you have the proclamation?
Unfortunately,
There we go.
Counselor, I'll be
It's
reading it.
there.
I would be remiss real quick if I didn't. Wayne just gave a bunch of accolades out to some very deserving folks, but Wayne, thank you for all the time you committed.
It's really everyone else that makes it work, really, believe me. It's
Proclamation, Character Counts Pillar of the Month, Citizenship. Whereas Queen Anne's County was declared a Character Counts community, and whereas all citizens are called upon to embrace the 6 pillars of character and incorporate and model these traits in their daily activities, and whereas community members are committed to fulfilling the responsibilities as citizens of their town, county, state, and country, and whereas all citizens should engage young adults at age 18 to register to vote, to understand the issues facing the community, and to serve as role models of citizenship, proud to have the right to vote. And whereas all citizens should respect and consider following the laws as an important part of citizenship, understanding the process that create and maintain the laws, and whereas all citizens, when called upon to do so, will serve on jury duty and recognize the importance of democracy, protecting and preserving our constitutional rights as Americans. And whereas the act of citizenship demonstrates all of the 6 pillars of character, benefiting the citizens and community as a whole, thus helping the government and society to work in a more positive partnership. Now, therefore, we, the County Commissioners of Queen Anne's County, do hereby designate the Character Counts Pillar of the month of July to be citizenship. Lance, well done.
Just want to say real quick that Kelly does a great job with this program. In the Character Counts program, we get into schools with young people and teach them the pillars, because all of us know there's a bit of a lack of civility in our society these days among some. All you have to do is come to a public meeting or drive on our roads and you see sometimes a lack of civility. And we can get into schools and teach young people about caring and citizenship, trustworthiness, responsibility, all the things that many adults, it's lost on them. I think we could use a Character Counts program for some of our adults in the community. But I really appreciate the program and what it does for kids and the values that we teach them and instill in them at a very young age. So I appreciate being part of the program.
It certainly has worked over the years. I've actually had some of my own children say, "Hey, Dad, you need to do a better job with your 6 pillars." So most of the time that's because I'm driving. Yeah. So anyway, great program.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
You guys.
Thank you for the time especially.
It's good to see all of you
Make sure to stop and see us at the fair.
Yeah, okay, will do. All right. Okay, moving on, Commissioners, we have our next presenter is the Executive Director from the Local Government Insurance Trust, Tim Aylesworth. I say that right? Yeah, Tim. And I think, Dwayne, you coming up? And we have Director of... Yeah, sure. Yep.
Thank you.
Resources Director Beverly Churchill and our Risk Manager, Dwayne Embert, and they're going to present a grant award here this evening, so please.
First of all, thank you for having me. This is my 3rd member that I've gotten to visit since the world opened back up. I was in Cecil last week and a couple of weeks ago in Cambridge. It seems like you folks are more willing to have me than everybody else, but but thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's really good to see you folks, and I hope to see you in Ocean City next month. I know that it's been a tough year for everyone, particularly legit. But with that said, we through Zoom, we've kept operating. Most of our folks have been working remotely. We're going to open back up in another next Monday, and although our folks have done a great job working at home. But let me compliment these folks. They do a great job over here, and I want to thank you for that. Beverly is in constant touch with us and Kevin Karpinski for any HR issues she might have. I read a report every month, and she's on the ball with that. And Dwayne does a great job as well, and you're lucky to have these folks. And tonight I'm here to present a check to the county for $587.50 for flagger training, and to get your folks trained for that so they can train other folks, since the law requires that. But before I do that, I do want to mention that Legit has, over the last 5 years, or 10 years rather, 128 employees have been, of your employees have trained through Legit sponsored training. This is your 9th training grant award, which means Beverly's doing a great job of taking advantage of the money set aside by our Legit board to return to you all, our members. And this, overall, it's been about $8,500. And I want you to please keep on doing that, because it's your money. And I recognize that I'm nothing but a steward of your money. And this year, I promised Beverly I wouldn't bring this up, but unfortunately, we had a terrible renewal year on our property reinsurance. It went up significantly. Overall, you all haven't had a problem, but our law enforcement losses, and you know what you've seen on TV, went up. We had to raise the rates there. And folks are having police deputies, mainly in police, are wrecking cars. I don't know why. But when we replaced those, we used to...
Forget the flagging, maybe they had a driving lesson.
You know, I've worked in 3 pools for 31 years and been at Legit now for 11 and a half years. And when I started in this business, a deputy or a police car, either one, was about $18,000 for a Crown Vic. Today, they're $52,000, $53,000. And unfortunately, we had wonderful rates for years, and it's caught up with us. And so we've had to do that. But at any rate, last year, and we'll talk about that because that's the great news, is we returned to you roughly in credits $140,000 out of a $450,000 premium, which is because you all have done a great job. This year, the trust has returned, in our last renewal, we returned about $4 million because we knew we were going to have a terrible property reinsurance year. We buy insurance for our insurance because we insure $9 billion in public property, local government property in Maryland, and so we have to have pretty good backup for that. And so we returned an additional, it was declared in May, an additional $750,000 to kind of mitigate that increase. But with that said, thank you for belonging to Legit. I know Queen Anne's County was an original member, and we do appreciate that very much. And I do appreciate that. And thank you for allowing me to be here. And I apologize for the way I talk. I actually am one of 5 people in the world that got Bell's palsy from the vaccine. Now, I'm going to get the booster if that's what they tell me to do, but I have one of the few people on earth that's had a reaction to it, so I apologize for the funny talking. But with that said, man, present the check to Dwayne or Beverly, either one or both.
Yeah.
Here we go. Thank you. Picture.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Why don't you turn around and do it, face the camera, that way we'll get it on the...
Okay, sure.
There we go, yeah. Nice.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
And thank you for being so active and doing risk management duties.
Appreciate it, sir.
Thank you.
Did you want to say anything?
I can, as Mr. Allsworth talked about just a second ago, the whole purpose of this grant was, it actually was triggered a little bit by what went on during the COVID. You know, Maryland requires that anyone that's involved in a flagger operation has to be certified by a Maryland course, just not a national course, but a Maryland course. So during the COVID, we had some folks that were coming due for recertification. We were having some difficulties trying to get people in live trainings. So it just kind of stemmed the idea that maybe we'll get a resource here in the county that can take and attend the training to become an instructor for the flagger course. So we bring new people on. We don't have to wait to find a class. We can give that class more often, and we can also have our own resource to recertify. So through the training grant that's provided through Legit, we took and applied for it, and they were gracious enough to kind of go ahead and say, yeah, we'll do that. And that's why Mr. Allsworth.
So train the trainer.
Train the trainer.
Gotcha.
There you go.
We don't want to get caught in a situation.
This meeting is being recorded. The recording has stopped.
Is that God?
Told you, Jim, he'd come back for you, or she would.
So now we can do the real business.
So for liability purposes, we didn't want to be in a situation where we ever got caught putting a flagger out there that was not certified, so now we have a more readily available resource. So.
And I would say that Dwayne has actually done some other courses. He's done the forklift training. He just did that class last week, and he's setting up some other classes, and he did the bucket truck training about a month ago.
So he's not just doing flags.
Is
he's doing
that
other classes.
forklift training open to anybody?
Well,
Commissioner, yes, sir. It's open to you.
you may well.
Trouble driving a car, what are you doing with a forklift?
Might help them.
Maybe I'm better off on a forklift. Very good.
Thank you.
But thank you, folks.
Thank you.
All right, thank you all very much. All right, Commissioners, next up we have our quarterly update from our Department of Emergency Services, and we have Director Scott Haas and his team. They're going to come in, and they have a PowerPoint presentation for this evening, so.
It's up there for you, correct?
Yep, it's on the screen, yep, so we're all set, I believe, so. Dr. Haas, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. After our last update, I think the last two, it's just been me coming in and giving you updates. And I could tell by the last one you were missing Mr. Wheatley quite a bit, so I thought I'd drag him.
I tell him we speak on weekends.
That's right.
I brought Mr. Alfrey. We've got a lot going on in the department. We try to give you two divisions as an update, so we're going to cover EMS first and then our communications division second. And Scott, do you want to go ahead and take it away?
Good evening. It's good to be back amongst the esteemed leaders. Thank you for having us. I tell you guys this every time, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I am blessed and honored that I am the face of the division that does the work for EMS. Hardworking crews that have encountered a lot over the last year. So from the support that you continue to give us, I'm speaking for all the career staff within the EMS division. Thank you for all that you do. You know, we slowed down during COVID a little bit, and as you're seeing, our call volume is way back up. We're running somewhere between 160 and 170 dispatches, and out of that, we're transporting the normal 80 to 82%. But out of that, the high acuity calls, the calls for heart attacks, unconscious, severe diabetic emergency, severe trouble breathing, have been way up. And this has caused an increase in call volume, more calls for the supervisor. You guys assisted us with funding the South Supervisor Unit. That South Supervisor Unit stays busy every day, and those of you that get the text pages see the calls for EMS4. So total this year so far, we've had 3,804 EMS calls, and we have transported 1,858 of those. I'm not going to read these slide by slide, but you can see that the paramedics and EMTs have done well over 10,000 procedures in the county and administered almost 5,000 medications in the last 6 months. We're getting back to normal. We're glad to be back to normal. Even though most of the world doesn't have to wear a mask now, we're still required due to the CDC and to the MIMS guidance to wear a mask, eye protection, and gloves on every calls. And then if we deem it to be a PUI or something that could be COVID, we switch into the more secured with the HEPA mask and the gowns, et cetera, et cetera. Crews have truly embraced this. They're frustrated wearing masks just like everybody else, but they're doing their best to provide the service, and they're doing a great job, and I brag about them all the time. So we do have a huge supply of PPE thanks to the health department and the combined efforts between DES and the health department. If the next pandemic breaks out tomorrow, we've got our PPE that we will not be trying to play catch up this time, and we will continue to utilize that as necessary. The best thing that's
Scott, happened...
real quick on
yes.
that point, but it does expire, correct?
It does. So we're rotating.
So what is the shelf life of it?
It all depends on what it is. The HEPA masks are good for just around 10 years, and then they're going to start breaking down. Luckily, we've got our supply chain back now. We were unable to get those for a while, so we were blessed that we had a increase of those prior.
Okay.
So,
and the biggest advantage we have now is we have now an environmentally controlled storage area, which we didn't have before, and that kills the half-life of the PPE without having it environmentally controlled.
Gotcha.
The best thing that's happened in the division in the last 2 months is we've returned to in-person training. So last month the crews went and we did our water training, because sometimes we're the first on the scene of water rescues where we have to try to assist patients out of the water, so they practice their survival skills, et cetera, et cetera. This month we're training with Maryland State Police Aviation Command, doing some in-person training with the helicopter and running through scenarios with them. You guys will see pictures of that as we continue to move forward. Big news I want to tell you about is 2 of our earth-shattering, live, local, late-breaking equipment things, and these are big because we're the only ones doing it, especially in the state of Maryland. So the first, that on 3 of our cardiac monitors, we've taken delivery of a new
device inside the Zoll that allow us better measurement of airway, ventilation, especially with cardiac arrest. Medical science has shown over the years that we were over-ventilating patients, and that actually had a decrease survivability. So with these little gadgets that have been installed, and I say little, everything comes with some price, which you all are aware, we're able to better control that and provide better care. It gives us a better read, it can give us live feed, and that takes our quality assurance to a whole new level where we continually get better on every call. The second thing is we are the only department in the state of Maryland that's using Dr. First backline for EMS. If I was to find Commissioner Wilson unconscious on the side of the road with nothing but his driver's license, I could scan his driver's license, and within about 10 to 15 seconds, I get a return of his history and medications. We are the first EMS system in the state of Maryland to do this, and the best part, this costs nothing to the taxpayers because we were able to jump on a state-funded grant that was encompassed by the state and the Governor Hogan, who sponsored this. So we've got it for the next 3 years free of charge, and I started budgeting the service charge. It's not a lot of money for what it does, and then this will automatically, in just a few more weeks, that information then imports into our patient care report as well. The second part of Dr. First and Backline that is phenomenal is that it's taken our mobile integrated community health. We're able to do telemedicine. We're able to HIPAA compliant and medically secure transfer information. And we're finding things with this that we never thought was possible, as well as providing the crews responding to calls history on those super users, so the ones that we go to several times a month. And again, those of you that get the pages to your phone, you see addresses very similar over and over again. So this is a big deal for us, and we're proud to have that, and I appreciate the support of that came along with that. This year with the staffing, obviously our EMS 4 is going to be staying in service, and when everybody is at work, we will be staffing Paramedic 200, especially on those critical times of traffic, Thursday through Sunday, that causes a large demand on our service. You get 2 calls in the 3rd Battalion or the lower part of the county, units have to start shifting. We have to try to do that ahead of time, so when we get the calls south on Sundays, there's no way we're going to get there in a timely measure to meet our 8-minute response time. So that unit's going to allow another unit to be deployed and to be in service. And again, we're just going to try to better ways to serve the public. We're also looking at, in this year coming up, continuing the CPR training, the Stop the Bleed, preparing with the Special Ops Division, the active assailant training, and continue to push our mission out to the public so they know us before they need us. I hope within 2 to 3 weeks to be sending you a notification that we, for the 5th year in a row, will be receiving the Mission Lifeline by American Heart of Gold. And I'm confident we met those standards. I'm just waiting for the report to come back on the national level. And we're going to be doing some PSAs about the Zoll monitors. And obviously, I'm going to try to recruit some of you to be in those because we couldn't have done it without your support. So we just took delivery of our paramedic unit that was funded. It's getting all the bells and whistles put on it. It's beautiful. I'm proud of it. I would like to show it off for you at our next meeting possible. We're going to continue to support large gathering events around the counties as they're going to help support us with the Bay Bridge Run. I'm very excited about that. We're looking forward to supporting that. And we're going to continue to provide the best EMS service there is, as you all have asked us to do. And with that, any questions?
Not me.
Wow. Hold on. Wow.
I asked one at the FEC meeting, so I was already done.
Well, thank you. Thank you for your time, sir.
All right, so part 2 is Chief Alfrey is going to go over to the Communications Division. And we have some very exciting news with our Communications Division tonight and the direction we're going in. So
That might be a tough act to follow.
It's always a tough act to follow. That's why he goes first, so you know. So we've been in this for about 2.5 years. You've been hearing about Next Generation. So it is a lot closer than everybody understands. So I understand you gentlemen understand fireworks. So let's just say that we are now entering into the grand finale with what I'm going to present tonight. So Next Generation, Queen Anne's County is the lead on this project. We have been for the last 2.5 years. We are leading the shore. We've come together as the ESCA community, the 9 counties from Cecil all the way down to Somerset, Wycomico, Worcester, and in between, we're in this project together.
Queen Anne's has a project manager, and we are waiting on one permit from State Highway. They're doing some construction on the 305, a little bridge out there. Once we get that permit, we will be able to rock and roll forward. We thought the holdup was going to be the railroad bridge on 301. We had that within 2 weeks. It sailed right through. I was told that the railroad was going to be the big headache, and it was not. So we're looking to go live first quarter of 2022, so we're figuring sometime in January. So just an update on the other counties. Caroline, Dorchester, Kent, and Somerset have already got their funding from the Maryland 911 Board. And Cecil, Talbot, and Worcester go this month, and Wycomico is just about to sign. They have some legal stuff that they wanted to make sure that was covered. So just to give you a little bit, I was finally able to get into the stats. There's a typo at the top. It says FY 2020, it's supposed to say 2021. For the last 11 months, I haven't been able to get in the computer due to the relocation to the 911 center, but I was able to get in and get you some stats. So from July 1st of last year till June 30th, we processed 72,984 emergency, calls. Of those, 27,424 were emergency, and it breaks down on the other side to what came in via wireline, wireless, voice over IP, SMS. And then the bottom stats are what we've handled from January 1st of this year to June 30th of this year. Emergency is 12,849. So far this year, for 6 months in, we're about 34,031. Some of that is from COVID. We'll see the numbers pick up. We're right in the middle of summer as well. So we're going to see these numbers start to go back up again. Just to show you the busiest days for us, Friday, Saturdays, and actually Sunday is the slowest time, but it's not that slow, as you can see. Still pretty active, and our levels are starting to peak, so we're all starting to see the pie chart, or the numbers, the columns just stay pretty much level across the board, so we're getting back to that peak in a heavy season. And again, so the second part of the finale I was talking about is the relocation of the 911 center. When I set this up, it was, we have a pulse. I can proudly say, as of today, we have the $2 million 911 center, because we are up and running, fully operational from the 911 center, and we are no longer operating from our temporary location. We were able to do that in about 24 hours. We had everything lined out, pre-planned. Support services from Rob, Patrick, Christine, Tony, Alan. They have worked hard for hours getting all this set up to make the transition really easy. We started about yesterday afternoon, and as of today, I can say everything is up and operational. Okay. CAD, the other part of the grand finale. We are 9 months out before we go live. We go live on April 5th, 2022, and that will be the last part of the finale. It's going to be the 911 center, which started today. Next gen will be in January, and the CAD will be the end in April, and we will be state-of-the-art communication center. So just a quick out on the CAD, we have the transition team building. We're working with the FEC, the Sheriff's Office. Right now they're doing the Sheriff's Office build out. And we'll begin in September, starting some training, and we'll do heavy training the months of January, February, March to make sure that we're ready to go in April. And then let the transformation begin. We have some space in the basement of the courthouse that we're going to turn into the backup 911 center. I've already received some funding from the Maryland 911 Board to make this happen, and with some funds from the county, so we're moving forward. So great times and a lot happening.
So we open up for questions for the department.
So
I can tell we don't have a lot going on right now.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to bring it up because it was brought up at the FEC meeting that there was some concerns that the CAD transition is going to require iPads being upgraded and for all the volunteers as well as within emergency services, and that, you know, we're bringing on a new IT department. We're going through it, but I think we really need to keep our focus and our eye on the prize to make sure that our emergency services get all that transitions in the right amount of time, because I think there is some concern. We had some issues earlier on where they were not getting, you know, some things done. So I think it's something that we as commissioners should commit to make sure that that transition into April 5th is very smooth, both with our volunteers and our emergency services side, because there was some angst about that. So
I know Todd has been very committed on doing that. We've had several meetings, and I'm very confident we're going in the right direction, and I'm looking forward to some changes. So we have nothing but good news.
So, just so everybody knows, the amount of work that goes into moving the 911 room is unbelievable. I mean, if you go out there and the wiring looks like it's Space Center or something. Anyway, you guys have done fabulous, and I really appreciate it, and the county appreciates. Well done, really the best. Any county would be proud to have you.
Well, the two things that I'm proudest of post-COVID is our frontline response that Scott's team did. And really, you can't appreciate what our communications division went through unless you actually see the garage they worked out through the whole COVID process. And they have been in there
just over 11 months.
11 months. And today was their first day to come out of a garage and back into the 911 center. So the garage will be set up for a while if anybody wants to see where we came from. We are not expected to be back into the administrative staff. It's not expected to go in for another 2 or 3 weeks. There's still some additional renovations they need to do to the core building, but the 911 center is fully operational.
Scott, in your Mr. Wheatley, in your presentation, you talked about Paramedic 200.
Yes, sir.
Being staffed 24/7 when possible. So when you say when possible, is that because of?
When everybody comes to work, no one's out sick, no one's on vacations,
Okay.
the staffing will be there to have that in place.
Okay.
Obviously, the goal, as I wrote and talked to you about over the next year or two, I would like that as a permanent unit. Because
Okay.
every time the South County gets calls, we're moving 400 down,
Right.
500 down, and we're depleting the resources.
Right,
And,
right. And it's only going to get worse.
I just want to provide we want to provide the best protection to all the citizens, not just one area.
Now, do we have to do anything to Paramedic 200 as far as housing there?
That's another conversation for another day.
Very good.
I have dreams and visions, and you know that I am the dreamer, and I will forward
Actually, that
those
was a
dreams
loaded
to
question
you.
because I actually stayed there.
Yes, you
on
did.
a ride along.
Yes, you did. Every time we get a bad flood or the water rises, we have to take consideration of moving the trucks out of there, getting the electronics off the floor. So obviously, we have to look at a plan for the future. It is a busy area, and that supervisor unit, like you've seen on your pages, that supervisor unit is running, additionally providing care and moving the administrative duties of the day. So it's great having that truck down there, and I cannot thank you enough for that.
But the biggest thing that helped us do the 200 is we got 3 additional employees that we're staffing in the EMS division. So that's going to help us man that unit. The downfall is we're one short on the group that we brought in. So there's 1 day a week that we're going to struggle to try to get that 200 in service. But we're doing our best to work around it.
I think a second floor on that building is probably
A watchtower.
I don't have any more questions.
I'd like to point out that I think but I'd like Mr. Wheatley or Mr. Haas's remarks on it, that with the increase in acuity and our volume increase, it isn't going to be too long before we have to grow this baby again. I mean, it is what it is, and it's a thing you don't get behind on the curve. So.
Well, the big thing, like what Scott said, that we're probably going to be asking for in upcoming budget cycles is to go 24/7 with 200. Because we're not capable of doing it at this point, but we're close.
Don't say about us. We've got to be there to answer it. You can have all the paramedics out there, but if you don't have somebody to answer the call, you're hand in hand.
That's it.
Thank you all very much.
Oh, thank you. Really. See you guys.
Thank you.
Guys, all right. Okay, Commissioners, that concludes our presentations for this evening. We can move to tab 7 under legislation. And we have, I believe, 3 county ordinances that are available for vote this evening. The first being County Ordinance 21-02, major and minor multifamily dwellings and non-residential height requirements in the UC zoning district in Queen Anne's County. This is a citizen-sponsored text amendment.
So what does it do to set it off?
We had a public hearing 3 weeks ago, I guess it was. We've received quite a bit of public comment. I think, Margie, 84 opposing this particular bill. Came in electronically. We had some public testimony 3 weeks ago, and we did also receive an amendment from the attorney representing this particular amendment, Joe Stevens, to strike the height ask from 55 to 45 feet. So I know Director Murdoch is here as well from the planning office, and if you have any questions for her, but it is available for motion and a vote if you so choose, or we can look at the amendment, which would then go back to the Planning Commission for consideration.
All right, do we have a motion on that?
A motion to send it back to the planning and zoning?
Or a motion to bring it to a vote?
I make a motion to disprove ordinance 2102.
We have a second?
Second.
All right. Is there any discussion?
I think the only thing I would say was I would have made an amendment to remove that 55 feet to put it back to 45 feet. But the motion is made to, what was the motion?
Disapprove.
Disapprove, right.
County Ordinance 2102.
So it wouldn't do any good to remove it to 40, put it back at 45, it's already a disapprove, so.
Any other comment? All right, all those in favor of the motion to disapprove County Ordinance 21-02, say aye. Aye. And anybody who are against motion to disapprove?
Aye.
Okay. Those four in favor and one against. Next.
All right, Commissioners, next ordinance is County Ordinance 2103. This is for self-storage uses in the town center zoning district in Queen Anne's County, also available for a vote. And do we have any other public comment on that testimony? Okay, from the hearing. This is another citizen-sponsored text amendment.
All right, do we have a motion on that one?
Motion to approve 2103, right?
Correct.
2103, yes.
2103, yep.
I'll second that motion.
All right, motion and a second. Any discussion?
How tall is this building? Amy, how tall is this allowed to be? I'm just curious. If you're not sure, it's no big deal. Okay. 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 Thank you.
Yeah, because I think I asked them in this, I got clarification that it goes back to 1987 when they set the 45-foot for most of those areas, I believe.
that's right.
It goes pretty far back.
Okay. We have a motion to approve County Ordinance 21-03 that has been seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, 5-0 in favor.
All right, thank you, Commissioners. And lastly, we have County Ordinance 21-05, the expansion of the Kent Narrows Commercial Management and Waterfront Improvement District established under Article 4 of Chapter 5 of the Code of Public Local Laws of Queen Anne's County.
All right, we got a motion on that? All right, nobody wants to make a motion on it?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
I'll second that motion.
All right, so we have a motion to approve County Ordinance 21-05, and it's been seconded by Phil. Any discussions?
Second by Phil.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, 5-0 passes.
All right, that concludes our legislative items for this evening. We have a second press and public comments period. Has anybody else signed up for any virtual comments?
No virtual?
Okay,
Nothing on the list?
double check here.
Let's put this, anybody in the room have anything to say?
Thank you. You guys all look at me? I don't know.
No, we're just looking at it. We're just happy to have people out there in the audience.
Not a lot of people out there to look at.
I appreciate that, the 84 opposing. I think that makes a difference with the public on Ken Island in any way. A lot of people have been turned down by even voicing their opinion for fear of it meaning nothing. So that was really cool.
And state your name just for the record.
Oh, Josh Willis. Okay. So thank you, I appreciate that.
All right. Close the press and public comment.
So we have roundtable.
All right.
It's not even round. But
It's a lot less round now that we're all back here, right? Mr. Wilson.
My goodness. I think probably the most interesting thing that's come up during the last week, and I think Commissioner Moran would probably have the same feeling, is that as you look at what we commissioners have heard during the last couple of weeks, it is that the kind of excess capacity in the county, whether it was the Bay Bridge, whether it was almost every aspect of our road system, the debt, everything we have is shortening up. And we're getting to a point where where the county needs to really consider allocating what we've got left. And to me, that's going to be probably the outstanding thing that we're going to do over the next couple of years, because the sort of extra room we had to move into things was a lot greater 3, 4, 5 years ago than it is today. And that's my remark of the day.
All right, Commissioner Moran.
I'm good.
All right. Go to Commissioner Dumanel.
I just want to say real quick that I'm pleased that the folks for Ordinance 2021 or opposed to Ordinance 2021 took the time, as we had asked 3 weeks ago, to please share with their commissioners their position and their concern for 2021 or the reason why they were in favor of 2021. So I want to thank our citizens for reaching out to the commissioners.
All right. Commissioner Wilson.
So to stay in that vein, I'm a firm believer in the processes that we put forward, whether it's a developer or anybody that brings forward a text amendment. You know, it's our job to vet it, listen to the facts, listen to the people, and not be discriminatory about who we let bring text amendments forward and who we listen to and who we don't listen to. And I guess one of the things that really frustrates me is the fact that, you know, I'm not a big Facebook person. I don't troll it like some do and things like that. But I get really discouraged when I hear from my wife or friends that screenshot stuff that say we as commissioners are taking money from developers to approve projects. That can be further from the truth. And quite honestly, it tends to border on a kind of a slanderous thing when you have to explain to your wife where all this money is that you're supposedly getting.
She wants vacation.
She wants to know where the gold bars are. And it's just, you know, it's, to me, people, you know, we heard the state's attorney talk about civility, and I think it has to start right there. I mean, we're not up here to screw anybody in this county or to screw the county over. You know, we're doing the job that we feel we were elected to do, and we try to do it to our best ability and listen to people, as Phil stated. And not every project's going to be right. Not every project's going to be wrong. So on its surface, we have to look at it from that standpoint, and that's, you know, that's the job we've sworn to do, and I think we do a good job of it. So, thank you.
All right. Well, I also want to thank everybody for participating, and I would encourage people to keep up on, you know, what goes on with the commissioner meetings, and when something comes up and someone says, oh, I didn't hear anything about this, you know, they backdoored that in. There is a lot of press releases that go out about these things. So, but you know, you have to look at the newspaper. You have to watch the meetings. Our meeting agenda is published ahead of the meeting. Planning Commission, advertise, published ahead of the meeting. You can watch the meetings. You can listen to them on a podcast. So there's plenty of ways for citizens to get information, and we want you to get the information and be a part of the decision process. If you are for or against something, let us know. But as Jack said, but civility is important, because, you know, we are your neighbors, and we're trying to make this a better community as well. That's, all of us are up here for that. And so just please keep that in mind, and we'll be civil back with you. But we do want to hear what you have to say on anything. So I want to welcome new superintendent of schools, Dr. Salins, has officially started. This July is, I guess July 1 was her official day as the superintendent. So welcome her to Queen Anne's County. I think there is some very exciting news for the upcoming school year with kids back in school and, you know, back to normal. And I think she's really dedicated. Commissioner Dumanel and I met with her earlier, dedicated to making sure that this goes well, that kids are back in school. And we're really excited about that. I want to thank all of the county staff for the 4th of July celebration. Those fireworks are fantastic. Everything was flawless from, you know.
Family Day.
Yeah, and Parks and Recs, DES, every department, they did it. People don't realize, you know, there's a whole command room that gets set up down there. And they're monitoring everything for safety, and then the traffic enforcement that has to be out there. And I think it was done perfectly. And Beth giving us public information. She's out there making sure people know what's going on. So thank you to the county staff, because you did a great job for the citizens of Queen Anne's County. And I think once again showed the citizens why they should be grateful for the staff that they have here working for the county that does so much for them. And then I also have, Tom, this is for our official record, we have some students from Mattapique Elementary School who put together some persuasive arguments on why people should not be texting or distracted driving. So I wanted to make sure that we have that and let the teachers there from Mattapique Elementary School know that we have received these, and all the commissioners will have the ability to look at what your students wrote. So I love seeing that, the kids taking part in also advocating with the community. That's all I have. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right.
Second.
Second, all in